Hi creators, today I'm back in Davinci Resolve 16 and I'm looking at the Davinci Resolve 16 slow motion features. There's a couple of new features and I'm going to cover those today, so stay tuned. Alright, so Davinci Resolve 16 has a couple of new features, and some of the algorithms for Davinci Resolve 16 slow motion definitely seem to get a lot better. I've got this clip right now. It's basically just some drone footage flying pretty low over the top of the ocean. And you can see we have a lot of action here, a lot of detail in the water and that. And so when we go through that full speed, it's going to look something like this. And I thought this would be a really good clip to use to show you as an example on how this algorithm is going to work with Resolve 16. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the speed of this clip. You can select this option, which is change clip speed, and change it to whatever you want. There's some other options in there as well. The easiest way to do it is hit Control R, and we're going to get the retime controls. And so by default, it's going to be at 100%. We get this new little pop-up here. And so we can select different options. We can change speed. I'm going to just add a speed point in here. And so I can just define it as a couple of different points. You can move that point along here by the bottom grabber point. And so I'm going to get to, I want to get just past where this water is going across the rocks. Probably about right there. So I'm going to grab that point and move it to there. And then next, I want to actually change. I'm going to clip some of this out. Actually, I'm going to clip some of this out first. I don't want to use the whole clip. Open up my retime controls again. Okay, so now I want that detail of the water washing on that rock. Okay, so next I'm really going to spread out, slow down this footage. I can start with changing the speed down to 10%. And you can see that's really going to extend this out. I still have my speed point in there. If I want to move that out even more, I can grab this top grabber point. Okay, you can see I've got that down 6% or so. Okay, to dig into the settings for Davinci Resolve Slow Motion, we need to make sure that the inspector is open up here in the upper right corner. So go ahead and make that white if it's not. It might be off. And so you just want to click that. So down here in the bottom of the inspector, you're going to have this retime and scaling. Go ahead and double click on that to open up the options. And you can see here, there are some different settings that we need to take a look at. The first one is the retime process, and it'll generally be set on project settings, and you can change it to nearest, frame blend, or optical flow. And the first two, so nearest, we'll go ahead and select that one. That one's going to be pretty much just a very jumpy frame rate. You can see it's just trying to take those individual shots and it kind of spaces them out in between. So that's really not very good unless you're really looking for that kind of a look. If you go to frame blend, it is going to try to mix the actual frames together. And so what happens is it is much smoother, you can see, than the first one that we looked at, but you're going to get a little bit of artifacts and things like that around these edges. You're going to really notice that. And so it's okay. It does process very fast. So let's go down now to the best one, which is optical flow. And when we select optical flow, we're going to get some different options here. And so there are actually, it's project settings, and that's just your default, how you have your project set up. And then we're going to have standard faster, standard better, enhanced faster, enhanced better, and the new speed warp. And so I'm going to start at the actual standard faster. The optical flow for me is a jump up from frame blend, and I'll show you what that looks like here. So if you pay attention to these rocks right here, you can really take a look at what is happening. That's pretty good, and that's a fast process there. I'll jump back to frame blend. And let's take a look at this. We're gonna zoom into these rocks. Okay, frame blend. You can see you get that jumpiness, that artifacting. It's really just kind of not a very realistic look. I'm going to jump right to optical flow on the fastest setting. That cleans up those edges quite a bit. We still get a few problems there, but it's pretty good. And so next, And let's even open this up a little bit more. Let's go to the better setting here for standard. And we can just keep on bumping this up all the way to the speed warp. And that's a little bit jumpy, and that's more just the processor trying to get through it. And if you go up here to the actual speed warp, that's what I had it on when I first loaded it because I was doing another project. And so it really is slow. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this segment of video through all these different settings, and I'll have a notification on the actual video so you can see what the retime process was that was used and what the motion estimation was that I used if it was an optical flow. And so I'm going to go through every one of these, render some video out, and compare all those so you can take a look and judge for yourself. And I will say this video works really well with optical flow. It actually is not too bad if you're using frame blend. You could see, unless you're zooming in, you can't really even notice it. Other videos are going to be quite a bit different, and I will get to that here in a second. Okay, this one I have a surfer here on the ocean, and you can see him in the middle there, and he's got his wake going behind the board there. And so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to section off a little bit of this clip, say about right there. I'm going to retime this, go down to 10%, and I've got this set right now. I'm going to set it for optical flow, and I'm going to go to enhance faster. Go ahead and stretch this out just a little bit. Let's take a look at that. It's pretty good. So what you're going to see when you start getting a lot of activity around these characters, you might pick up some artifacts around the waves and around the ocean. This is actually doing a pretty good job. You can see a few little problems in here. It's not horrible, but if you run that on the actual speed warp, it's going to get a little bit better. It's going to take you some more time. This is not perfect, but it's pretty good for the estimation that it's giving us. And so just keep that in mind. And it's actually not too bad. You can see it there. It's bouncing a little bit. And that's what I wanted to warn you of. It is going to have a few problems. It gets a little bit better here. You can see it has a few problems there as well. So keep that in mind. And obviously the better shot you have, the more it jumps around, the more you're going to have issues and artifacts. But this is actually not too bad. If you just have people and they're moving really fast, you're going to have some issues with that with these settings, but overall it's definitely a lot better algorithm that Davinci Resolve has put into this new version of 16. So give that a try. I think that you're going to be pretty happy with that. And thanks so much for watching today. Please subscribe to the channel if this is helping you guys at all with your video production, and take care, guys.